So many of the businesses we love the most, the ones with that real personal touch, they run on pure passion. But if you look behind the curtain, that passion is often held together by, well, a pretty fragile system of spreadsheets and just sheer manual effort. So how do you scale that incredible human touch without the whole thing just falling apart? We're going to break down that exact journey, a three-step path from manual chaos to smart, intelligent automation.
So, let's meet our hero for this explainer. We'll call her Rosa, and she really is a powerhouse. Her entire business is built on care and real personal connection. She's the one who remembers every single birthday, every life event, and she sends these super personal gifts and messages that build just incredible loyalty. She is the engine of her business, no question, and she's amazing at it. But here's the catch. Her greatest strength is also becoming her biggest bottleneck.
And right here, this is the core problem. Rosa's own success has become her biggest challenge. The system, if you can call it that, it all lives in her head and across a bunch of scattered spreadsheets. There's zero automation, no real way to track the return on investment for all our effort, and honestly, a very real risk of burnout. The promise, the dream, is to build a system that's intelligent and automated. But how in the world do you do that without losing the exact personal touch that made the business so special in the first place?
Okay, so step one isn't about some massive, scary technological leap. Not at all. It's simply about bringing some order to the chaos that's already there. We're talking about a really simple, low-risk combination of tools that most of us are already familiar with: Airtable and Google Calendar.
The trade-off here is pretty clear, right? On the one hand, the setup is super simple. The interface feels familiar. For someone feeling totally overwhelmed, this is a huge breath of fresh air. But the downside is that it's still very manual. You have to log the gifts and track any referrals yourself, and the system isn't offering up any smart suggestions. It's a fantastic step towards getting organized, but it's not intelligent, at least not yet.
So what does this actually look like day to day? Well, before, Rosa was spending hours just scanning spreadsheets, her eyes glazing over. Now, Airtable just automatically filters a to-do list for the month. Then an automation tool, something like Zapier, pushes those reminders right to her Google Calendar. All of a sudden, she and her assistant have this clear, shared action plan. It's a massive time saver, and really the first big step out of the weeds.
All right, once you've got some order, the next logical step is to start adding some intelligence into the mix. This is where we level up from simple databases and move into smarter workspaces. Using tools like Notion AI, or maybe a no-code portal you could build with something like Glide.
Now this is a pretty significant leap forward. The system can actually start to help you. The AI can draft personalized messages for you. Rosa can organize all her outreach into these clear campaigns for holidays or anniversaries, and it makes delegating tasks to her team so much more structured. The trade-off? Yeah, it's a bit more complex to set up, but the payoff is huge. You get a system that starts to think with you.
So the new workflow gets a whole lot smarter. Imagine a Father's Day campaign. The AI actually drafts a warm message based on a client's past interactions. All Rosa has to do is review it and click Approve. That task, with all the context, then gets assigned to her assistant. It makes delegation totally seamless and way more powerful.
And now for the final leap, full automation. This isn't just another upgrade. It's a total transformation. We're talking about a custom, AI-powered system, a Smart Relationship Automation Platform, or SRAP. This is the point where the system stops being just a tool and becomes a true engine for the business.
This is the absolute game changer. The platform doesn't just organize information, it recommends action. Using AI, it tells you exactly who to contact, when to do it, and what to send for the biggest impact. And it goes even further by tracking costs and tying them directly to referrals. So for the first time, you have true ROI. With features like an integrated gifting marketplace, it becomes a complete end-to-end relationship engine.
At this stage, the system does all the heavy lifting. The AI flags a top client who's maybe going cold. It then suggests the perfect gift and a personalized message. All Rosa has to do is click Approve. The platform then handles the entire execution, sends the gift, and a month later, it can even automatically track a new referral that came from that one single touchpoint.
That right there is the power of a true relationship engine.
And you know, a platform this powerful, it really deserves a name. Let's call it Timely, because that's exactly what it delivers. Timely, intelligent outreach. And the tagline really says it all. Smarter relationships, simplified. It's not about replacing the human touch, it's about simplifying everything that has to happen around it.
The impact here is just staggering. A system like this can save over 90% of the time spent every single month just on planning outreach. Can you imagine what Rosa could do with all that time back? She could focus on big picture strategy, build even bigger relationships, or, hey, maybe just take a well-deserved vacation.
But okay, here's the ultimate leap. A platform like Timely isn't just an internal tool for Rosa. It's a potential business all on its own. I mean, thousands of other realtors, coaches, and consultants are facing this exact same problem. By turning her custom solution into a subscription product, just 100 users could generate up to $120,000 in annual revenue. The system she built to scale her service becomes a scalable asset in its own right.
So, we've walked all the way up the scaling ladder. The big question left is, which solution is right for you? And really, it all comes down to matching the system to your current scale and your future ambition.
And here it is, the whole scaling ladder at a glance. You can see that clear progression from a manual system, which is high touch but super high effort, up to the tiered solutions. Tier 1 brings you order. Tier 2 adds that layer of intelligence. And Tier 3 delivers full automation and true scalability. The most important thing to see here is that there's a path for everyone, no matter where you're starting from today.
And that really brings us to the core thesis of this whole thing. Rosa's passion, her care, her intention, that is her superpower. That should never, ever change. The only thing that needs to change is the fragile manual system that's struggling to keep up with her success.
So, I'll just leave you with this one question to think about. Your passion is your superpower, but is your system keeping up with it?